Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with more King Arthur Knight's Tale. I apologize, my voice probably sounds a little bit different. I'm under the weather today, but I still want to get some content out for this game, so hope you all enjoy it. Let's talk about Merlin, someone I know is a very, very popular character, and I figured some of you might be curious to see the outline of all the abilities that he has available. Merlin is, in my opinion, the most powerful character. He can completely light up a battlefield in a way that I haven't seen anybody else be able to do. So, how does he do it? Let's go ahead and dive in. First up, you have Firebolt. It's going to deal 100% weapon damage and knock back the enemy. By itself, I would say this really isn't all that great, but he has two major upgrades that make this amazing. First, he can set it where he will burn the target, which causes them to experience more damage. But then even more importantly, he can set it up where it becomes 3 missiles instead of 1 firebolt. This is huge for a couple of different reasons. One, there are some characters who have a buff that negates the first 3 hits that are done to them. So with this ability, Merlin can throw all 3 missiles at them and then completely negate that effect in one turn. Very, very nice. Also, because the bolts cause burning, he can actually target 3 separate people and light them all on fire. There are some characters that you get who do more damage to enemies who are burning, so he can essentially set them up for the kill. This ability is absolutely amazing. And then you can also upgrade it where it's going to do 15% more weapon damage, and he will gain 1 AP when killing an enemy with a firebolt. All of this you definitely want to pick up. Next is Illusion, which is basically going to place an illusion on a tile that enemies definitely will target, and it can also trigger enemy overwatch attacks. Now, you can increase it where it will chill a target. If it's killed by it, you can reduce its cooldown. The illusion will gain 50% dodge, so hopefully maybe take 2 attacks instead of 1. And you can reduce the cost in order to be able to use illusion. So basically for 1 AP, you could throw this out. This ability isn't bad at all. Like I said, enemies definitely will target it. It's just that Merlin has so many awesome things that I can't bring myself to spend 2 skill points on it, but it's not a bad pickup. Next up is Teleport. Teleport, as you can see, has a range of 10. So even if an enemy is directly in front of Merlin, he can teleport to just about anywhere on the battlefield. You can upgrade it where it has a +2 range. So actually, when you first pick it up, the range is only 8. It will heal your HP for 2 when you teleport, which is actually kind of nice. You can arrive at a target tile hidden, which basically means enemies will completely ignore you. I think you have to be at least 2 tiles away from enemies in order for them to not discover you. So as long as you're more than 2 tiles away, you will remain hidden and be relatively sure you will not be attacked unless it's by an area of effect. And you can reduce the AP cost for teleport by 1. So originally it cost 2 AP, but now it costs 1. Absolutely, you want to go ahead, pick this up, and pick up all of its upgrades. You will want to teleport either to avoid damage or to set yourself up in a better position to do damage towards enemies. Next up is Magical Armor. At the start of every encounter, Merlin would gain 18 armor that only protects the hero from the first attack. So this is kind of a get out of jail free card in case you screw up with Merlin and you accidentally put him in a situation where he would be in danger. This helps to ensure that he will have minimum impact from that situation. I haven't bothered to get it because I prefer to just keep Merlin out of harm's way. But there have definitely been some times where I either made a mistake or enemies reacted in a way where I didn't expect them to react. And I really wish that I had this available. So again, it's not a bad pickup, but he has so many other incredible things that I just didn't really want to put the points into it because I wanted to help just build out his kit, and so I just try to do the work to tactically make sure he's not going to be the one who's targeted. Obviously, you want to increase his weapon damage to make all of his powers more powerful. And then long reach, you definitely want to increase the amount of tiles that are susceptible to his spells. And this is going to give him a +1 on Spellcraft. Spellcraft does two things. One, it will uncover hidden items that are hidden using magic. So this is the same thing that Perception does. Basically, there are chests or little sacks of gold, things of that nature that Spellcraft can uncover. But even more importantly, you're going to come across shrines throughout the world. Spellcraft will identify what these shrines do. And this is important because some shrines have negative effects. Well, it will harm you if you use them. So you absolutely want somebody with at least one in Spellcraft to be able to use it. So a ranking of 1 in Spellcraft will identify everything. Any increases in Spellcraft beyond that extend the amount of squares where a character can identify something. So let's say like there's a chest in a corner. Maybe if you only have one spellcraft and you're just walking past it, you don't pick it up. But because I have 3 spellcraft and his awareness extends out further, there's a greater possibility that he'll recognize that chest and I'll go ahead and be able to loot it. Of course, any of these chests can contain really, really nice items, including relics. So Spellcraft is something that's nice to have on at least one of your party members. And then finally, Master Alchemist is going to increase the potion effects on the hero. Me personally, most of the potions that I have are health potions. I don't think this is really worth it. There are a bunch of other things you could do that will increase AP, increase damage, things of that nature. So your mileage may vary about whether or not you think this is worth it. All right, second slide, Raven Swarm. Monster ability. The target is going to suffer 10% weapon damage 5 times, becomes slowed, and suffers the initial weapon damage at the start of their turn for 3 turns. You can increase the amount of damage that it does or how many times it deals damage. You can make the target weak, and it has the ability to transfer to other enemies, and you can increase the duration. This is great to put on bosses. It's going to slow and weaken them and do a steady bit of damage. So I like to put this on basically the major boss at the beginning of the fight, because more than likely we're wiping out all the smaller, easy to kill creatures. And then by the time we circle around to the boss, there's already been some damage done to them, and he'll probably be ready to put Raven Swarm on the boss again. And then we can go ahead and take them out. So great ability. Highly recommended. Honestly, all of these upgrades are worth it, but I took the ones that I felt like were really, really pertinent and then moved on to some other things. Mind Fog causes an enemy to attack the target that is closest to it. The upgrades will allow you to use it for less, so basically you only need 2 AP in order to cast it. It's got a greater range. You can put weakness on the target that you put Mind Fog on, and you can reduce the cooldown. I'm just really not a fan of the insanity, confusion type of skills where you have enemies attacking each other. I personally prefer to just go ahead and take them out. So there's nothing wrong with this skill, but it doesn't fit my personal playstyle. Plus, again, Merlin has amazing damaging skills, so I prefer to put my focus on them. Mental Guard is going to increase his mental debuff resist, and it's going to also allow you to give that mental debuff resist to your party members, provided they are in range. So that range is around about 3 tiles, I believe. I would say this is not worth it. A lot of times Merlin is way in the back or way to the side. He's not close enough to the tanks and the upfront characters who would really need access to this. And I don't want to bring him closer because I don't want to take a chance of him getting hit. So overall, I would say this is not really worth it. Fire Drake deals 150% weapon damage in a 5-tile long straight line. You can increase the range by another 2. You can increase the weapon damage. You can have it cause vulnerability on targets, and it can do burning on all the targets. Monster ability. You can hit If enemies are in a straight line, you can hit like 5 of them at one time. And again, being able to put burning on enemies is very, very useful. And also, if you see my tips video, you already know the vast majority of enemies in this game are vulnerable to fire. Well, not vulnerable to it, but they're not immune to it. So specializing in fire is definitely useful to you as a spellcaster. Love this ability, use it all the time. Mysticism is going to increase your spellcraft, and anytime you kill a unit, your cooldowns are going to reduce by 1. Very nice. Definitely pick this up. And then finally, evasion allows you to dodge the first incoming melee attack each turn. You could pick this up, but again, I prefer to keep Merlin out the way. He does not take melee attacks unless something really, really awful has happened. Real quick, before we move on to the last panel, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button. It helps me figure out what content the channel is enjoying and helps spread my videos to more people. I really appreciate all of your support. All right, and now we're down to the last slide. Falling Star deals 130% weapon damage to every unit in an area of 3 by 3 tiles. You can do burning to all of those enemies. You can do an additional 30% weapon damage to the center. You can reduce the cooldown for Falling Stars, so you can do it every 4 turns. And you can cause knockdown to the unit that's in the center. So obviously this is highly effective against bosses or enemies like shades that you really, really want to be able to take out. And it's an insanely powerful ability in the right situation. Then you also have Master of Fire, which is going to give you an additional 10% weapon damage for all fire skills. 30% weapon damage for burning effects, increases the turn for burning effects, increases the weapon damage against units affected by burning, and killing a unit reduces all currently running cooldowns on fire skills, which all of your damage skills are fire skills. So for both of these, you absolutely want to pick all of it up. It's going to make him incredibly powerful. Then you also have spell resistance and a bunch of upgrades that are going to make you immune to burning, negative 10% damage from incoming spells, increase your mental debuff, and negate the effects of the first incoming spell in each encounter. This is all about him being defensive. I don't focus on him being defensive. He is all about being that glass cannon. Keep him out of the way. Fog engulfs the entire battlefield for 1 turn. Every tile is shrouded, and ranged attacks deal 50% less weapon damage, including the ranged attacks on your team. Now, there's an upgrade that allows Merlin to ignore these effects. But if you have anybody else on your team who uses ranged attacks, like me, for example, I use Lady Dendrain, who is a marksman, the fog is going to affect her and cause her to do less damage. So me personally, I don't use this. However, if you are running a team where Merlin is the only character doing ranged attacks, then fog might make sense because it's going to cause all the enemy archers to do far less damage. As far as other upgrades, you can reduce the AP cost. You can reduce the ranged weapon damage by another 25%, and you can increase the duration of fog. Enemy archers can be absolutely brutal, so definitely in the right situation, this is useful. Again, depending on the makeup of your team. Spell power increases the range of your skills by 1 tile, and their weapon damage is increased by 10%, and you get a +1 in Spellcraft. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. Pick it up. Mindstorm. If at least 3 skills are on cooldown, casting the skill reduces all currently running cooldowns by 1 turn. Obviously, you definitely want to go ahead and pick this up. So you have major skills like Falling Star and Fire Drake, which have high AP cost, but then you also have Raven Swarm, which only costs 2 AP, or Teleport, which only costs 1 AP. And Teleport only has a cooldown of 2 turns. Raven Swarm has a cooldown of 4 turns. So you're going to be able to use these on a regular basis. Having 3 skills on cooldown is something that happens very regularly for Merlin. So this helps him out a lot. Definitely go ahead and pick it up. And then finally, of course, Pyromania, plus 50% to burning damage. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. It's going to help with all of his fire skills. And that is all of the abilities that Merlin has available. Obviously, you can see he is a major force who is able to absolutely set a battlefield on fire. I mentioned in my tips video that you should give all of your extra skill points to Sir Mordred, but if you were going to choose one other character that you would give your extra skill points to instead, I would say it would probably be Merlin if you're able to keep him around. The things that he is able to do and the amount of damage he's able to deal out on the field is just absolutely unparalleled. So, hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.